juvenile fillies to 14 of them across the track. He sent on their way. And the dance on the outside, broke a little sideways, but broke KK, but meanwhile it's going to be stopped. But running on now, and Somali Lemonade's got 8 to make up. They come to the top of the lane. Stop Shopping Maria's got a lot left. Stop Shopping Maria goes on. Sweet Cat is right there. Hard Not to Like. Royal Body is running on. Past the 8-ball way comes. Stop Shopping Maria. Fuller run still under a hand ride as they come to the 16. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Yes, Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten, stop Shopping Area. Stephanie's Kitten's water. Watched the chances, broke smartly, but so did Terror from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern, the grey going well. If he can get through, Sky Lantern, the grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Terror from the Cape hanging on. Terror from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla is on right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be Watch the Chances, Summer of Fun coming on to finish third.
Live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicap Report, coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course on another beautiful, beautiful morning. Humidity way down. Nice to walk out the front door this morning, Seth, and see dew on the lawn. So the high level of humidity that we were experiencing early in the meet, at least for Coaching Club American Oaks Day, has given way.
Yeah, it was steam bath at the beginning there, but today, what a Chamber of Commerce day today.
Yes.
It is gorgeous up here. Sun, as you say, the temperatures are very comfortable. Pretty much that way yesterday at the track. About mid-card, a little, I mean, the latest of late sprinkles came through. It didn't bother anybody, but there was a little something that came through mid-card. Other than that, it was a gorgeous day yesterday as well. So everybody came up, had a good day yesterday, I would imagine. And it's more of the same today, and you can come up and take advantage of some nice racing up here, including some nice stakes racing as well. And I'll touch on yesterday's stakes race. How about this? Chad Brown Exacta, $170 in the Lake George yesterday. It was technical analysis over fluffy socks. So to anybody who boxed up the Chad horses, congratulations.
Well, how about this? Chad Brown's 5th Lake George, 3rd in a row, only one of them the chalk. Last year he had a $30 winner. And yesterday, technical analysis, as I was, talk often how great a job David Aragona does on the morning line. How about this? And the horse that scratched was Invincible Gal, who was the flyer that I was taking for Grand Motion, who was 15-1. So when a 15-1 scratches, I think it's fair to say it probably won't affect the morning line and the betting line very much. He got practically every single one right. He did get 7 of the 9 right. They didn't bet technical analysis, who was 4-1, goes off at almost twice the price. And the only horse they bet was Toby's Heart, who was just about the reverse. He was 10-1 on the morning line, went off at about 5.5-1. So You know, I mean, that's pretty darn good. And technical analysis was, boy, I'll tell you, you know, I talk about the mile races on the inner, how much I like them. Going to that first turn, under maybe many other jockeys, things would have gotten really out of hand. And now here's a rare case, Seth, where I think many everyday horse players, we like the pan shot that we're used to. And when television gets a hold of it and starts shooting at different angles, we go crazy. But here's a case where Fox, they go to that kind of into the bend shot, is very helpful. And you can see Jose Ortiz on technical analysis being in that famous spot where things start to get herky-jerky, but no. Very, very well done through that first turn, which is always, you know, they stopped running 2-year-olds at a mile 25 years ago because it was so crazy. But even older horses, and boy, he got them to relax and settle. And then, as you said, a Chad Brown runner paying $17 and change in the lane looked like King Kong, the offspring of Kingman. So 3 in a row, 5 all day. Seth talks about the $170 exactas. So, you know, the beat goes on.
I had Jouster, and I thought, coming around the far turn, I thought it was in pretty good shape. The fractions were reasonable, but just when they got into the lane, it didn't.
We think. And I've said this before, I don't know how much work goes into this, but I really felt for stakes races in particular, we should do the most we can to not have the rails up. That's one thing. And I always thought on the other side, now obviously the mile races have to be run on the inner turf course, but I always kind of hope that that Diana and all of them would be run on the Mellon turf course if they have a chance, because I think, this is subjective, but I think most handicappers and everyday players find the Mellon turf to be a little fairer, if such a thing exists, over the inner turf course, etc. But technical analysis yesterday, I scratched into a $17 winner. Good day yesterday. A couple other things before we get Steve Bick in here. The first race, the only veteran with Buckingham Prince, right? Looked like a winner for much of the race. At the end of the show, that's right, because I can't pay attention. But it was the 9 to 10. Looked like a winner. It's about the last 50 yards. But kudos to the public. The firster that they bet was the firster that won.
Yeah, I always say the betting public, New York bettors are very sharp, and you have to pay attention. And something you haven't put in your mix is taking some action, take an extra look, because and part of that is also not just New York bettors. It's just in general the theory of you get a bunch of minds together, all of a sudden the consensus tends to have a little bit of power.
And one quick note on Thursdays, we're doing basically an intervention for yours truly to get me to the pick 5. Are you a pick 5 player?
Not particularly.
Okay, I didn't think so. I think that's
4, and I mean I've jumped in a little bit, but that's not necessarily
That's
at this point my wheelhouse.
You know, I understand some of the math behind it, etc., but just a couple of rundown. It paid $440 yesterday. 6 to 5, 5 to 2, 4 to 1, 7 to 1, which is the Chad Brown runner, who was 4 to 1 in the morning line. And something Brian had always told me often is, like, in things particularly like the pick 5, the morning line is more helpful than sometimes the betting number. So thinking that technical analysis technically was nearly 8 to 1, but was 4 to 1, and then the 4 to 5 entry runs 1-2 in the finale, comes back 440. You can see why the pick 5 pools are so gigantic, and you know it's very popular. I always tell people, so the reason it's not popular with me is I have a poor track record, and I've said this probably because of the type of horses that I like doesn't make for a good sequence. It makes for a good vertical, which we've already gotten, you know, into the black for the meat on the trifectas. But, you know, these ideas of playing defensively and taking these horses that I might not particularly like to you know, it's like as we both love the NCAA tournament, it's about, you know, surviving and advancing. Advance and survive. You know, you don't have to be the smartest, you know, sharpest pencil in the box. And, you know, that's got to be fantastic for the little guy player.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you have invested? Maybe $40 yesterday?
Yeah, you can.
I mean,
certainly that entry in the last race was
almost a layup.
Yeah, so that.
And you had to think people.
The pick 5 to more of a pick 4.
Right, and not only that, when you're looking at the Lake George in the morning, Well, technical analysis is 4-1. It's a Chad Brown runner on the turf. He's got to draw the attention of a lot of 12 and 18 and $24 pick 5 players. So now almost the 40% of it, you're thinking, well, I can get there with like 2 or 3 selections, and now I got to get through the first 3, and you had 6-5, 5-2. So, I mean, it's certainly a great bet, and I haven't. I can see what they bet yesterday because I got it right in front of me. Just under $1 million. But I guess some of the days it's been,
people love it.
Goo goo gaga.
If there's a certain number of races on the card, there'll be. I think there's a middle one today, right? Middle pick 5 today.
They have tried to. I noticed of late, and Anthony Spiel mentions that Talking Horses, get that extra one because we have a early one and we have a late one.
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you one thing. I'm, and I've tried to. I obviously, we say this all the time. Picking horses and picking winners is fantastic, but your bankroll and being a good bettor is really the 2 pillars of betting horses. And handicapping is third.
I always like to say things that maybe we said in years past, but say them again because I always think when Saratoga comes up, you're getting folks who are maybe new to the game tuning in.
Yes.
And we've talked about it before. They're two sides of the same coin. They're very related, but betting and handicapping are 2 things that are different. I mean, I think a lot of people think of them as the same thing. Oh, you handicap the race, but you can
I'll put it to you this way.
Great and bet it poorly. So you have to work your skill level up in both of those areas.
I could say that in my lifetime that I learned to handicap probably, somewhere, between the ages of 14 to 18. I mean, I knew how to do it at 14, but in that period. And I probably learned how to bet at about 29 or 30. I mean, it was a lot of mistakes, and that's one of the reasons I'm a trifecta player. I learned where my strength seemed to lie based on results, etc. And
if folks don't know, the ADWs, like capital OTB, you can kind of parse your bets out and find, if you come up here for a day and you're playing all over the place, you can, at the end of the day, or at the end of the week or whatever, parse your bets out and find where your strengths are and maybe then go in that direction a little more.
Well, I'll tell you what, part of my 20s and everything being all over the board, and trust me, there were fewer wagering options in the 1980s than there is today, but I was like spinning my wheels and I'm like, you better learn what you do well. And I'm not saying stick to that because I want to learn about the pick 5 and betting it better, etc. So, but if you can't keep score by yourself, as you said, get the rundown of it and see where the black numbers are and where the red numbers are. And if it starts to become obvious, stop hitting your head with the 2x4 and go there. And that was part of my education. The 2 parts of my education was to, the saying has become now stay in your own lane. But the other thing, the real breakthrough for me, and I've said this many times before, it was still called the Ninjana back then, but Heed was going up on the price, and I bet more, and that was my breakthrough moment where I didn't really care what they were on the board. That if they were 8-1, but now they're 18, I went back to the window to bet more, and I had always thought conversely. Yeah. Previous to that, and it just was like, trust your convictions. Just because the general public, want to give you more money, that's okay. Be more confident, because I felt as if, and this is my problem with the pick 5 that Brian says is my problem, I think you make big scores, you survive, you make big scores, and he tells me I'm Fruit Looped, and we're going to work through that. You ready, my friend?
Yeah, let me just
what do you have?
line people up top of the hour. Racing Across America will be joined by Bruce Brown. He has Robin Sparkles, the favorite, in the Caress, the second stake, Coaching Club American Oaks, and the Caress today. But he has Robin Sparkles, so Bruce Brown will join us. Caught up with John Velasquez. People should watch that. Really nice interview with him. We talked Malathat. Also, next week, there's a Pdjf Awareness Day. So I wanted to get in a little bit on that so people would know. Autograph session with the jockeys. It'll be a week from today, again, next Saturday.
John Velasquez, when the jockeys were granted the right to sell advertising on their trousers, John, as I remember, has been one of the longest with the PDJ. Other guys have gone steakhouses or anything, but I can kind of see because they have that boot is their symbol or something. And he's had that for a very, very long time. It's
on
tremendous.
the board of the Jockeys Guild as well. So it was fun to talk to him. We've covered a few subjects. And also Carrie Bryan, who was a longtime Jonathan Shepard assistant, went off on her own within the past year or so, and then had her first starter on Thursday at Saratoga, won the Grade 1 Smithwick. That's not bad. Your first starter at Saratoga, you won the Grade 1.
You could let her know she had to carry the weight of yours truly in a steeplechase to the wire. She doesn't get extra purse money for it, but boy, if Mormino hits a Grade 1 jumper for you, you have carried a lot of weight. Any other business?
That's
we good?
it. That's it. Top of the hour.
All right, yes. And beautiful day, ladies and gentlemen. You come up for the outstanding racing. The opener, 3-year-olds and up, claimers in for 40 non-winners of 2 lifetime, starting right in front of the crowd. 1 1/8 on the dirt.
I am going to go in here, and I've written at the top of the page wide open, but I land on 7, 6, 1, and 5. I do have the favorite, but on top, but I'm not going to argue if folks are going in different direction. And if you are starting out a pick 5, it's one of those where you decide, do I want a single here? To me, I may at least go a couple deep, because I do think Royal Realm is the one to beat. The race 2 back was very good, the Maiden Breaker. Then they got ambitious, I suppose, and went an allowance non-winners of 1 other than. Now they're in a 40 N2L. So I think the class move maybe gets us back closer to what we saw 2 starts back. But I thought the Pletcher horse, Ashar, was playable as well. Luis Saez on board, I think, is a pretty good fit with this bunch. The last couple of races weren't much, but they were both on sloppy sealed tracks down at Monmouth. So I'm thinking maybe a return to a dry track gets this one in a good spot. And then Giacari, am I pronouncing that correct? I have no idea, to tell you the truth, because this is another one of those where I feel like in the mornings, I've talked about this one before, and in the afternoon, then it gets pronounced differently. But comes up from Monmouth. Another Todd Pletcher runner, and I think another one that is going to fit nicely. Lightly raced and may benefit from the seasonal debut. Irod Ortiz hops on board. There's no doubt that is a benefit as well. So for me, 7, 6, 1, and 5.
Now, just to show you how completely different this is, Seth says he sees the race as wide open, as I do. So my first rule after that is I'm never going to the chalk. If I look at it,
most people are like that, and I can't disagree.
I look at that and I go, and I have, we don't have the numbers up for you, but I have Royal Realm for second, but I can't, $250,000 Empire Maker now in for 40. But my other thought was, and it's like he's supposed to stick out. They're taking blinkers off. He draws the outside, the 9 furlongs, doesn't show early speed, so probably. But I'm like, well, I can't, because I agree with Seth's first part, which is it's wide open. My
thing is, I'm handicapping the way I think they're going to come under the wire.
Yes,
and
that's
so
Seth's
I think
thing
this is the most likely winner, but I don't think
yes.
it's by a lot.
And I will say, now here's a question for you: do you think Royal Realm will be under 6-5, or actually above 6-5? Like, wouldn't be very attractive at 4-5, right? I mean, to me, to the better. I mean, you're like, there's serious questions here. Why are you in for 40? You only tried, you won a maiden special weight. It's not like you won a maiden claimer and tried one other than.
Absolutely,
you're a maiden special weight. You paid $250,000 for an Empire Maker. You're kind of required to try entry-level allowance, and now you're trying here. And hey, might win by 7 in here. But to me, I agree with Seth's first part, which is it's wide open. I'd have to say that. Boy, I wouldn't even necessarily throw out Breaking Stones in here for Roddy and Mary Valenti. Gary Siak has a winner at the meet, and maybe everybody can win it. So for me, it's, as you can see, 5, 7, and 2. I see it the same way as Seth, wide open, but I look through the telescope at the other end, and the Ghost Zapper taking on winners for the first time, who broke the maiden for 75 as the chalk, gets Joel Rosario. For second, I will take the horse to beat in this race, number 7, Royal Realm, and Good Culture. First off the claim from Mike Maker, who's having a good meet, 5, 7, and 2 in the opener.
Race number 2 at Saratoga on this Saturday afternoon. Maiden special runners vying for a purse of $100,000. 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares going a mile on the grass.
First thing I want to say is number 9, Tracy Flick. How often, Seth, have you seen a horse disqualified in consecutive races?
I said for probably a very limited audience, I tweeted out, I think, after the second, I said, Tracy Flick has now lost 2 elections. And if folks don't get the reference, Tracy Flick was the main character in the movie Election with Matthew Broderick. She was vying for to be the president of her high school class, so it was all about an election. So she goes to the stewards booth and loses 2 elections to start the career.
And, you know, the second one, she didn't cross, she lost the notice. You know, I was trying to think, Seth, and this is across the board. I think Sakawista was disqualified in consecutive races in her career. I think she had won both of them and was DQ'd. But I'm just talking maiden special weight, maiden claimers, entry-level allowance. Well, you got to work hard to get DQ'd in consecutive races. And Tracy Flick, for the familiar silks of Joe Allen, the green and white blocks, which track record holder on the dirt has those silks?
Here?
Yes. And I don't have it in front of me. It might be the longest standing track record at regularly run distances at Saratoga. And I would go so far without...
Spanish Riddle?
No, that's gone. Is it Spanish Riddle's
right.
gone?
No, as soon as you said that, I think
he's
you're
gone.
Right. Yeah,
The other year, the 6 furlong race
right.
with
as soon as you said that
2 days in a row,
was
somebody
because
Darby Creek Road.
Oh, okay.
The 7 furlong record.
All right.
I think Darby Creek Road was
good 3-year-old class, right? With Darby
crazy
Creek
good.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Beat John Henry in the track record performance up here before he was John Henry. I think
John Henry was in claimers up here. Yeah.
Hard to imagine. It's a great game. Just stick around long enough, you know, you can find it. I think Darby Creek Road was like 1 for 15 on a fast racetrack. I think he only broke his maiden on a fast racetrack. I think it was good the day he set the 7 furlong record that still stands 40-plus years later.
The best performance, maybe of my whole life that I've ever seen in person was General Assembly on the off-track in the Travers.
The off-track is the big thing for me.
And I used Smartin that day, and Smartin was clearly second best, but he was well behind General Assembly.
And the mud marks were good that day. Now here's one for you. Who was the chalk in the race? I'll give you a moment.
Was it a filly?
Well, you got probably the harder part. Yes.
But who was it? Oh, the Calumet runner?
You're nailing it.
But I'm not going to
now
think of it.
Now it's down to our Mims or the right answer.
No,
I'll give you a second as I go on to the second race with Tracy Flick, who is in 8-3-2. Miss Bonnie T, a very consistent runner for David Donk, offspring of Animal Kingdom. Shortens up after trying 10 furlongs at Belmont Park. 7th career start, 3 seconds now. You know, and I've called this isn't the Aldebaran or Aldebaran type second where he lost to horses that year before he won his championship. Seconditis. No, this is seconditis. A head, a nose, and a head. That's worrisome for me. And John Velasquez, well, let's find the winner's circle, especially today. And he's on a taped version of Race Across America for second. Number 3, So Enchanting, an offspring of More Than Ready. Touched on him. Never off the board. Never not the favorite. 0 for 3 is the chalk. Second start of the year for third. Number 2, Freedom of the Press. Gets Lasix with a 3rd career start. The seasonal debut. Devona Dale. 8-3-2 in the second. You got everything right.
I was totally blanking, but I knew it was.
After she had been beaten the week earlier in the Alabama to It's in the Air, she wheels right back and is the beaten favorite in the Travers. And I bet she's probably the only one that's ever done that. Beaten favorite in the Alabama and Travers. 8-3-2.
8, 5, 3, and 9 for me, and I had the 2 down at the bottom of the mix. But I went with Miss Bonnie T. I thought the cutback from the 1.25 miles was going to be beneficial. You go to the race 2 back, as you say though. You do get a little leery when they're kind of stuck in that bridesmaid situation, but maybe just again.
Well, especially when you're losing photo finishes, it's like, you know, you're losing by 2 or 3. You're like, okay, but you're going to lose. How many photos you're going to lose on me?
Yeah, so I go with them with that level of trepidation. Lady Valentine in the second spot. Paid a decent amount of money at Keeneland a couple of years back. The debut beaten favorite. It was also sprinting on the dirt. But by Into Mischief, this horse's win early, and Todd Fletcher trained. So I think Lady Valentine, Luis Saez on board can be a contender here. And Chad Brown has So Enchanting, who I think will benefit from the seasonal debut and perhaps move forward. 8, 5, 3, and 9.
On to the third race. Claimers in for 25,000, going 6.5.
Another race, top of the page, I've written competitive. This one I did go off the radar a little bit. I have it 1, 3, 5, and 6, and at 8-1 on the morning line. I thought Universal Payday was better than that morning line indicates. The knock hasn't been seen since December. But Trombetta can have him ready off the layoff, and the horse seems to be working decently down at Fair Hill and then at Delaware. Came up and has had to work up at Saratoga. So I'll tilt in that direction with Tyler Gaffleone, who having an okay meet so far. I think Tyler Gaffleone will probably wind up having a pretty good Saratoga meet as well. So I'll tilt in that direction, as I say, at a little bit of a morning line price. Cantrell Hill in the second spot. It's Robertina Diodoro, second off the claim. Well beaten at this level, 2 back down at Churchill, but then off the claim had a win, so comes back to this level. Was it an optional claim or not for the tag off the claim? So they banked that money. Now they come back at this level, so mathematically and financially it would work out well. If the horse got claimed, then you got to win, and it is Robertina Diodoro. So I'll put that one in the mix also on Al Cools in the third spot off the claim. Some nice positional early speed, so I think this horse will be prominent throughout. I think just class-wise, stacks up nicely with this group also. So I have it 1, 3, 5, and 6.
Now, when you download it, you wait for the final ones. You have the morning line.
I do.
Does Universal Payday not have the $25,000 listed in that spot on yours?
Right.
Why?
I'm guessing the time off makes him a waiver.
So that's how we would. That's.
I think 6 months is the waiver.
And you come back at the same. I didn't think you could come back at a lower. Okay, so that's why. So Universal Payday cannot be claimed in this race.
I'm assuming since the price isn't there.
So that's where we're going there. I am 362, ladies and gentlemen, and Robertino Diodoro won right off the claim, and I'm hoping to wheel right back, going 6.5 versus going 7 down at Churchill Downs. Shows a good post position here. Jock stays along. Strolling is my second pick. Chad Summers. This horse has been claimed 6 times, ladies and gentlemen. Talked about the runner yesterday with you. Not only, it's not even 6 out of the 12 on the page, because the first 2 was not able to be claimed. There's 2 more. So 6 out of the 8 eligible claiming races, Strolling has been picked off, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have any data. That's probably a good sign.
Yeah.
At the right level, and this is probably the right level at Saratoga for third. Number 2, Win with Pride. Orlando Noda sends out this runner. Luis Saez, who now has 3 bagger days.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's pretty darn good. I mean, or earlier than meet. He's got 3 years at least, right? Opening day, second day, and yesterday, 3.62 in the third. We're up to our first break on another glorious, glorious morning coming to you live from the backstretch at Saratoga Race Course. We'll be right back.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the Capital Region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Saturday morning number 2 at Saratoga for 2020. Seth, Merrow, Anthony Mormino.
And it's only July
2021.
24th. In the old days, it'd be like August 11th, the second Saturday.
Yeah. Things have certainly changed.
Yes.
For those of us who love horse racing at Saratoga, changed for the better. And it has just continued from opening day. I continue to walk through the crowd, and yesterday was no exception. People are thrilled to be back. I mean,
It's tremendous. Now, do you still go to Maine at all?
Well, last year, the state was
Well,
pretty much closed.
no, last year, I always say people go, there will be no trivia questions associated with 2020 in the future. But for those who don't know, Seth often, because he does, he makes James Brown look like a slacker in James Brown's heyday. But he would go before the meet, right? And then always at the end of the meet to get some R&R.
Hopefully at the end this year. But, I mean, the year before I went before and after.
Yeah.
Hopefully this year I can get. I just didn't get a chance beforehand. But all right, 4th race today at Saratoga. Conditional claimers going 5.5 on the grass.
The 11 six-pack is an MTO 2, 10, and 4, ladies and gentlemen, for me. And I'll tell you, Seth, as these races have gone about, boy, it seems as if, and now remember, we don't have that summertime rattle your feet type turf course yet, but there does seem to be some horses with early energy. And you got to remember, some of them have been 12-1 Epicurean for me yesterday, and they've been swallowed up at about the 8th pole. You're thinking, so I'm on shaky legs for seeing how these 5.5 furlong turf races are settling in. So I'm 2, 10, and 4, taking the Wesley Ward runner with Jose Ortiz. Wesley Ward own Lyrical Poet and Offspring of Kitten's Joy. That is my top pick. Most recent effort finished second, taking on winners for the first time. I have to tell you, I a little bit of an improve from an inside post position with some giddy up day in, day out. I think I like that. I'm not so sure it's a winning profile, as it were, but that's where I'm headed still. For a second, going to the outside of the starting gate for the turf race would be number 10, Forced. Long layoff from December of 19 to April of 21. My math tells me that's 16 and a half months. But boy, and my rule of thumb, Seth, is, especially from a betting standpoint, is they never come back. But this guy seems to have come back a little bit. So Ricardo Santana on the outside. And for third, number 4, making the 4th career start, 1 on debut, 2, 10, and 4. Fourth.
I have all yours in my mix. I have it 7, 4, 10, and 2. I thought the 3 was a little bit interesting as well with Jose Ortiz and some early speed. But I put the 7 on top. Vodka Lemonade. It's Mike Maker, and what attracted me was Joel Rosario, and it's a turf sprint. She's just been so proficient turf sprinting, certainly recently. But that pulled me in the direction of the Rapoli Mike Maker runner. Comes in good form off some turf sprints down at Belmont, broke the maiden 2-back, tried this level last time. Sometimes they take a start or two to figure out the next level. I think with the experience he got at this level last time, he has the opportunity to benefit from that and break through this N2L today. And Rosario, as I say, pulled me in that direction. Bartolino in the second spot. It's a class move I talk about quite a bit. And if you get that 6-1, do not ignore Bartolino. Over the years, I was doing, I don't know if you remember years ago, I did that. I was doing the afternoons down at the old Teletheater. I'd go upstairs, and it was a crazy internet-only thing that we had going on. And
I remember that.
I used to set up the camera myself.
Yes.
So you could tune in via the website.
You know, it's the old days when the building isn't around anymore.
But it was down there that I kind of caught on to this over a series of a few months, this state-bred allowance into open claimers. And that was before we had open conditional claimers, which I think makes it more potent. But it's a move that oftentimes offers up some value. We have 6-1 on the morning line here, and I think off the 8th place finish last time, we'll hold some value with Bartolino. But on that class move, I like it quite a bit, so don't ignore Bartolino. And then the number 10, Forced in the third spot. I agree with that, everything Anthony said. Only one turf start for this horse, but it was pretty good, and I think we can benefit from that. Some nice speed from the outside for that one. So the 4th at Saratoga, 7, 4, 10, and 2.
5th race, the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks at 1 mile and an 1/8. And I think in my youth, this was the only classic for fillies. There was 4 American Classic races, the Triple Crown and the old Coaching Club American Oaks at 12 furlongs at Belmont Park. I think Ruffian still hold, 227. So far and above everybody else when it was run at 12
There
furlongs.
used to be the old, and did Devona Dale win it? The old
Oh,
New York Triple?
she won the New York Triple
and the traditional. Right?
Well, yes, but people forget. I think she ran in about the second or third Kentucky Oaks as a grade 1. Kentucky Oaks used to be like a grade 2 at a mile and 16th, not much of a race. And that's why the Naira
So it
Philly
was the
Triple
Oaks,
Crown.
the Black Eyed Susan, and then the New York was the Coaching Club.
The Coaching Club American
the third
Oaks.
part of that, and then there was a couple more New York races as well. She was phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she ever won after the Coaching Club America. No, she had that abbreviated 4-year-old campaign. I think she won the Ballerina or the Masquette, but she was tremendous. Devona Dale in the Devil's red and blue Calumet colors. No show wagering in the field of 4. Will there be bridge jumpers for the place?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I would not.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Because even yours truly.
And the horse has to be good.
I just couldn't. I couldn't get Clairiere.
Yeah,
I don't think.
And I like Clairiere.
2 to 5, 9 to 5, but I think the gulf is bigger than that.
I have liked Clairiere throughout the career, but yeah, Malathat is clearly the reigning champion. Again, we have John Velasquez at the top of the hour during Racing Across America, and we talked a little bit about the Kentucky Oaks, which, boy, that was some battle with search results. Search results would not give up. And we talked a little bit about, it was fun after the wire when Irad Ortiz reaches over and kind of pats Velasquez on the back and shows the respect for, Velasquez and the stretch duel in the Oaks. But that kept her undefeated, 5 for 5. She is clearly the reigning divisional champion at this point in the year. Don't see any reason why that doesn't continue today.
I think you mean divisional leader.
Divisional,
right?
What did I say?
She's not the champ.
Oh, did I say champ? Divisional leader.
She's the divisional leader.
Divisional leader. At this point.
Yes.
But
she's marching towards a champion.
Yeah, absolutely. But I certainly, think
she's probably 2 races away, and after 3:26 this afternoon, she might be 1 race away.
Yeah, we have a 4-horse field, I think, clearly because of her. Scared some horses away, certainly, and, deservedly so off what we've seen so far. So I'm there. As I say, I've liked Clairiere throughout the career, so she seems like the logical contender. Maracuja, perhaps. She's probably, better than we saw last time in the Kentucky Oaks, and wouldn't be surprised to see a decent run.
Do you think she'll be 1 to 9? I think she's going to be.
In a 4-horse field, I wouldn't be shocked, certainly.
Trust me, anybody who's watched my, I tried digging deep, but she's, and I will say this: the Kentucky Oaks 95 and the Mother Goose 94 for Clairiere, but I just didn't see them that close. And trust me, I wanted to see them that close. So it's 1-4-3 for me, and at the 3-year-old fillies, we'll have to wait, I think, another day to attack the divisional leader.
In the 6th at Saratoga this afternoon, again, $100,000 up for the maiden specials. These are 2-year-olds going 3/4 of a mile.
And I think scheduled at 6 on the dirt. Is this the first one for the boys? Which is usually, this is the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen. So 7, 4, 9. Well, quick note: the 11 isn't also eligible for Dale Romans, and the first 2 that I have is an offspring of Into Mischief that costs $450,000. Number 7, Watasha, just taking a shot at the first time starter. John Embriel will probably be correcting me at about $350 this afternoon. But Irad Ortiz has the mount workouts for the debut. Maybe be happy to get the 3 to 1. We'll see if they bet this horse. If they don't bet this horse, I'm on the wrong path in these type of races. For second, number 4, Steve Asmussen, offspring of Gunrunner, lost on debut as part of the entry. I'll tell you what, boy, I think this horse is going to markedly improve, but I think you're going to need to improve. And for third, number 9, Irish C, Chugnier, he's runner 8 to 1 on the morning line, offspring of Honor Code. This is for the breeder is Mr. Farish. The Silks, though, will be shocking pink with sapphire blue chevrons, which will be quite attractive. You won't miss those, but be interesting to see which of the firsters, and I think there are some quite attractive ones they go for versus the couple of horses that have already started. But like I said, if the 7 isn't bet, I'm on the wrong horse.
I disagree with that though, because I've said this before. I am
well
more,
with these connections.
Yeah, maybe
There's certain,
you might be right.
I was certain connections. You'd be like, well, this one's going to fly under the radar. This guy, if he isn't bet,
I get
with the price tag, the silks, everything.
But I'll just reiterate that.
Because usually I love when they're not bet.
Yeah,
love it.
To me, I am more with the races up here. I am more attuned to, if you look up the tote board and there's a 6-1 that is now 3-5 or 4-5, then. But I don't mind if the horse I like floats up a little bit here because there's so much money in the pools. But you're right, some connections are probably.
If they're dead on the board, you're dead.
Yeah, maybe. But I flipped up your top two.
Sure.
4, 7, 8, and 1. The 2, Labard, I thought could be a player as well for Safi Joseph off a decent debut. But I put Cellino on top. And I was looking at my computer while you're talking because I hadn't written down the gun runner stats. And again, these are a week and a half old or so, but he's off to a nice little start. 15 first-time starters when I pulled up the stats. 5 wins and 5 thirds amongst the first 15 first-time starters. So pretty good there. Now, again, I realize this is a second-time starter, but those first-out stats show win early potential. And Asmussen horses very often improve in the second start. So I'll go in that direction. But, yeah, then the 7. The Chad Brown runner, they paid a lot of money for the horse last year. Has a sibling called Danzig Girl, second in debut, won the second start. Another sibling called Our Caravan that won its career debut and overall won 24 of 61 starts with 10 seconds and 10 thirds. So I think there's some talented breeding here and, you know, the connections, as Anthony said. So I may be on the outside looking in, taking a little pop against that one. But I thought Cellino might be interesting with the experience.
That's also Echo Zulu was the gun runner first that he had here, Steve Asmussen, etc.
Yeah. Volcanic. By Violence. Violence is one of those sires I pay attention to. First out or win early, so this one also may benefit from the debut for Mark Cassie. So in the 6th for me, 4, 7, 8, and 1.
And I know he has poor stats, but Bourbon Heist for Ian Wilkes making the second start, and he's only a 4%er with that. I like horses that debut like that, show you a little bit of something, especially for a guy who's not a firster, shows you a little bit of something, and then moves forward. On to the 7th race. Mellon Turf Course, 3-year-olds in for 80 or non-winners of one other than mile 16.
7, 4, 9, and 11. I'm going to take a shot with the first-time turfer, Calibrate for Steve Asmussen. You know, clearly you can see they had some expectations for this horse trying the Stakes Company last year. Didn't quite live up to that. And this year just seems to maybe be moving in the right direction and benefited last time from the stretch out to 2 turns after the 2 sprints. And now they try the turf. And sometimes if a horse has a little bit of class on the dirt, they can maybe outclass the turfers. We'll see if that's the case with this one because, again, they had some high hopes for this horse last year. So I'll look for this one to maybe be interesting at a little bit of a price for Asmussen and Santana. Calibrate on top. Hombre in the second slot for Barclay Tag. This horse has had a couple of starts, clearly improved in the second start of the career, benefited from the first out experience. And if we run back to that second start, will be a player with this bunch in Monquad for Todd Pletcher. Nice maiden break or 2 back. Got a little experience at this level last time. Should benefit from that this afternoon. So I would think this one in the third start of the season is a player with this bunch also. 7, 4, 9, and 11.
Boy, I'll tell you, a rough spot for Calibrate to decide to turf debut. I mean, I think this is a terrific on balanced race. 11, 4, 3. I'm toward the outside with Space Launch and Offspring of Bernardini, who's run exclusively on the turf. Debuted to a victory going a mile end of summer technically, but the autumn meet at Belmont Park. 1 start this year, got Lasix. Christophe Clemont very sharp this week. Hombre is my second choice for Barclay Tag. In Offspring of Taurus, who I talked about yesterday when I was talking about the rails up or down. He won the Circat on opening day years ago. He won the Breeders' Cup Mile I think Joel Rosario, who smartly stayed on the hedge and got through, making the third career start. The debut is pretty good considering all that went crazy. And on a yielding turf course on Independence Day, broke the maiden, draws a great post position here. And number 3, Sifting Sands, was a big price in here. Seth, we don't talk about it as much between us as Brian and I do, but European racing and all that, and Dubai is, I think, somehow, even at a price tag of $330,000, doesn't get talked about as great a stallion as he is. I mean, as a stallion, he chased Galileo. Now, he wasn't the racehorse Galileo was for the combination, but we in America don't talk about him very much. 11, 4, and 3, and Calibrate has found deep waters for the turf debut. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with the late pick 4.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-5s, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Let's dive back in. Race number 8 at Saratoga this afternoon, as Anthony alluded before the break. Pick 4 action kicking off in the 8th. We're maiden specials on the turf at a mile.
1, 7, and 8 going the mile. I'm inside for a split, then double. Chad Brown's runner makes the second start of the year. Just got beat with the addition of Lasix as a 3-year-old for second. Number 7, Vintage Style, comes out of the Martha, Washington. That's a summer stakes race down at Gulfstream Park. And look at the tarp on the turf course at Gulfstream Park. They're doing work on it. And Naked on the Beach for Norm Cassie makes the 3rd career start. Sharp debut at 35-1. And comes back at a little bit less than 5-1 and runs, you guessed it, less well. 1, 7, and 8.
I have a 3, 1, 2, and 9. I put Rastafara on top.
We've covered the whole board almost.
I went for the other Chad Brown runner. I thought the first couple of starts of the career were okay, and we'll build on those. But yeah, split then double certainly looks good off the seasonal debut. Might wind up being the one to beat. I just thought maybe I'd go with the tactical advantage there, being outside of that one. Baby Blythe in the 3rd slot for Shug comes in off a career debut that was at the end of last year. Still got in a little turf race on December 10th, but I say it often, these lightly raced horses, either from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, can come back off a little bit of a layoff and be improved. Comes back adding Lasix this afternoon as well, so Baby Blythe, I think, is a player in the 8th at Saratoga. 3, 1, 2, and 9.
You know, not counting, I'm trying to look, just a quick thing. Winning on the front end of the turf has been slow to materialize. I'm looking, pace setters, etc. But on to the 9th race. 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares entry-level allowance, running 7/8.
I have it 6, 8, 5, and 9. I put Caramel Swirl on top. Last out in a stakes race at Churchill. Threw in a little bit of a flop there, but broke the maiden just prior to that. So it seems like one of those horses maybe took a while to kind of figure it out. Was knocking at the door, though, and was very competitive through the beginning of the career, all those starts, but then really just seemed to put it together and looked great in the maiden breaker, but stepped into some deeper waters, gets back to a more proper non-winners of one, and comes in with some bullet workouts. I think should be live this afternoon. Flash Magic, also lightly raced, moved into the Steve Asmussen barn and broke the maiden in the 4th career start back at Churchill to kick off the season. So I think this one is one of those horses that had that layoff, being lightly raced from 2 to 3 and came back as an improved 3-year-old filly. And then Amendment 19 in the 3rd slot for Linda Rice. A couple of starts so far. Nice second in debut. Nice win in the 2nd start. So I think potentially a nice future for this one also. 6, 8, 5, and
yeah, I got Rinaldi and Maddie's Express seem to be 2 of the most recent ones going on to the front. And 8, 6, 7 for me. Flash Magic is my top pick. Left the Bob Baffert barn, 2nd start. Won impressively. Now takes on winners from the outside. Caramel Swirl, who Seth has already talked about, for the Bill Mott barn, the Godolphin, and number 7. So 8, 6, 7. We see it strikingly similarly in what I thought was a somewhat wide open race. We landed on the same horses.
Second stakes race of the afternoon, the Grade 3 Caress, a couple $100,000 up for grabs for the ladies sprinting on the turf.
2-1-6 for me, and Robin Sparkles, who got it going up here in the 2nd career start, the turf debut, not the favorite, and really hasn't looked back too often. You know, the seasonal debut this year is the only defeat, sprinting on the turf. This is the horse to beat, Jose Ortiz. And she might be the benchmark for me, Seth, as obviously it's 6 to 5 on the front end. There is some speed in this race. We'll see how it unfolds, and if you can get home from there, because the 2nd pick, Caravel, is 7 to 5 and should get a good race setup here. And for 3rd, number 6. So 2-1-6. I know it's a short field. I know there's 2 short price horses, but I think this is a very intriguing race, particularly if we get Robin Sparkles pushed on the front end.
Yeah, pace-wise, you're exactly right. I have it the same way, though. Robin Sparkles, and again, top of the hour, Bruce Brown will join us with the favorite in the Caress, but I think she's a bona fide turf sprinter, stakes quality turf sprinter, and a New York bred, which gives them all kinds of opportunities. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a specialty, and she's in that specialist in that area. So I'll put her on top, as you say. Caravel, also very, very talented. 6 wins and 8 starts. You can't knock that. And Jakarta in the 3rd spot could be a player as well. So in the Caress, 2-1, 6 and 5.
And in the finale, State Breds, Fillies and Mares, entry level allowance, mile 16 on the inner.
7, 3, 8, and 6. I will put My Lips Are Sealed on top for George Weaver. Nice career with a couple of wins, 2nd and 3rd in 6 career starts. Always in the hunt. Last time at this level, ran a good, very close up 3rd down at Belmont. Starter allowance win 2 starts back. So again, the horse is in very good form, but gets back to where we ran last time, where the horse ran a lifetime best buyer figure. I think the horse is set up well this afternoon. Mopolka in the 2nd slot. I'm going to draw a line through the last race. I think the horse is better than that, and the races just prior certainly fit with this bunch. But given the last race, we're getting a little bit of value with this one. Choose Happiness in the 3rd spot. Wheels back after a start already at the meet. I kind of like that angle, but does move up a little bit for Orlando Noda. But I think can be a player with Irod Ortiz at an 8-1 morning line. 7, 3, 8, and 6.
I see, you can see the saddle cloths up there, but 6 just okay is not okay. 6-1 on the morning line, taking on winners for the first time in the 4th career start, an offspring of English Channel. I like the running style. I think that this runner will sit, forwardly with Luis Saez back in the saddle of the maiden victory, and I think is going to cut out a very good trip here at a 6-1 morning line. My Lips Are Sealed, the 7-5 runner here, who hit the board at this level as the beaten favorite, makes the 3rd start since early part of March, and Choose Happiness on the outside, 6, 7, and 8 in the finale.
All right, we will head to a break, and when we come back, the DePaula play of the day.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Birdstone is an upside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Falbach. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish in the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
The Capital Region has some of the most sophisticated horse racing fans in the country. That's why Capital OTB built the Clubhouse Racebook. Here you can wager year-round on the best horse racing from around the world. The Clubhouse also has monthly promotions including live bankrolls, handicapping contests, and so much more. Like sports? Watch your favorite teams on more than 30 screens in Legends Field Sports Grill. Food, sports, and the excitement of championship horse racing. Only at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience here to be fair and easy. Whatever you drive, any make or model, DePaula is at your service with 100 bays and master technicians. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs. At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. DePaula can service any truck up to 72,000 pounds, so if you can drive it, DePaula can service it. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
It's post time for today's DePaula Play of the Day.
Welcome back, and joining us now for the DePaula Play of the Day, Steve Bick. Steve, good morning.
Hey, guys.
Happy to talk to you, and I know this week you're going to be doing some broadcasting, the radio show down at Colonial Downs. So you're down that way already?
We are down there already and had a terrific blowout. Came after the show yesterday, and Tina behind the wheel, me watching and betting yesterday's card, and getting ready for the rest of the weekend. We stopped in Baltimore, little crab cake dinner, and here we are in Williamsburg. I have not been in Williamsburg, I kid you not, in 50 years. I must have been 10, 11, or 12 last time we were in Colonial Williamsburg, and kind of excited to be here. We'll be broadcasting from Colonial on Monday, 3 more stakes. And of course, Colonial, one of the sponsors of our show, Seth, of Loose on the Lead. So kind of excited to be invited, and never been to Colonial, New Kent. Looking forward to it.
So if you haven't been there in 50 years, is this one of the racing towns that you don't know the best 5 restaurants in town?
I would say that I still do. Because well, the place. I'm sure there's new places in Williamsburg that I didn't go to with my parents. But when Woodbury Payne said, why don't you come down, either next Monday or Monday after, and I said that'd be great. I said I got to come down and get peanut soup. That's the famous thing. The King's Arms Tavern. And the Williamsburg Inn. We're staying at the Powhatan Resort, and it's pretty amazing down here. I'm looking forward to showing Tina. She's been through here, but she's never been here. Her brother was stationed at Norfolk. Or at Newport News, or someplace in the Navy years ago. And she said that she was pretty young when she came and visited him. So we're going to have today and tomorrow, and then a nice day at Colonial on Monday.
I think it's Steve, you have the oldest, I think, in operation post office in the United States in Williamsburg. You walk right down in the town. We stayed at the Williamsburg Inn a couple. Yes, that's why I sent my goddaughter from the oldest post office. But it is a great town. Rumor has you take us to the 11th race, Steve.
11th race it is. I've been singing the virtues of the state bred allowances on the grass going along, and here is another one of these opportunities. Essentially the 4th so far of the meet. We've been averaging 7-1 on the prices. I ended up taking the Invader, Mike's Girl, the 10 at 10-1. Jose Ortiz gets aboard for Charlie Frock. And what's interesting about Mike's Girl is when she has come to New York, and specifically Saratoga, she's run well here. And 3 win and 2 board hits and 4 tries. Charlie Frock can win, and she should sit a nice trip. No doubt that My Lips Are Sealed is very much the filly to beat, but these are races that are so closely contested, and the differential between the contenders and favorites is so small. You take shots. Mapolka, the 2 for Linda Rice, 10-1 as well, and I thought that Kara's Dreamer, 12-1 for Mitch Friedman. These are races you take swings, and whether you box horses up or whether you key a price, stay bred long on the grass, go for it. And for me today, the 10, Mike's Girl, 10-1, the DePaula play of the day.
I like it. The plays have been doing pretty well. You had the right idea the other day. The value got sucked out of your play the other day, but you had the winner there, so certainly that was important. People must have been watching the show.
She got the Derry Nane, got bet down.
Yeah, the Christophe Clemont first to right, 5-2 to even money.
Jumped on that one.
Well, Steve, enjoy the town. I mean, it's one of the great towns in America. We drive by Colonial every summer. It's not open when we're going to the Outer Banks because they open up about 10 days after we leave, but enjoy yourself down in Virginia.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and we'll see everybody. Let's talk to people tomorrow on TV with Seth, loose on the lead, but we'll see you Wednesday back at the track as well.
Very good. Steve, thanks. We'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. We'll wrap it up.
Williamsburg is great. We went there in 06, and I think we're scheduled to take young Anthony there next summer on our either tour or coming back from the Outer Banks. Very nice area. Very nice. Colonial Williams, yes. And I think the post office is older than the country, if I'm correct. The working post office.
Well, that's probably
that's pretty neat. Pretty neat. He stays. I go, ladies and gentlemen. A beautiful day for the Coaching Club, American Oaks, and the Caress Stakes. Enjoy yourself. We'll see you next time.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.